If you pay attention to esports, then you definitely know there's been a lot of things changing recently. We know that a lot of content creators are leaving certain teams. A lot of people are being let go. A lot of things are happening for the better for some things, like, Evo announcing $1 million prize pools and things, but few are far in between. Currently, we have a lot of things going on with a lot of esports orgs letting go of their people. The most recent one was the Guard, and the Guard actually laid off all of their content creators and social media talent. So the question begs, is esports dead? And the answer is obviously, in short, no, not as a whole. But in the grand scheme, a lot of things are going to be changing, and a lot of the big money is probably not going to be here. When we look at things on the internet over here, we're going to be looking at Claire saying, as of today, everyone's position that the Guard has been eliminated. It was a great few months, but I'm heartbroken. I'm available for work across merch or apparel. Unemployed in LA isn't something I was expecting to the day before my birthday, lol. Mark says, from what I've been told, this is just the beginning. There are several orgs on the brink of bankruptcy, and some of the names would surprise you. Running on borrowed money was always going to end this way. And that's a fact, because when it comes to esports org, how they're funded is venture capitalists and angel investors come through, and they're just like, okay, cool, we'll give you a bunch of money to put into this company to make it successful. And if it's not successful, we're not going to make any money back, and the company is going to be finished. You know what I mean? They're betting on things, basically. They're betting on esports the way that they bet on sports. Sports, traditionally, you have ad revenue, you have tickets, you have everything like from stadiums or anything like that. You have memorabilia, merchandise, booster cards, roster cards, rookie cards. You know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of things that happen within sports that make it very profitable, including, and one of the biggest things is betting. Sports betting is why a lot of sports continues and why a lot of sports is watched on TV, because not a lot of people are watching lacrosse unless you're really into lacrosse. But like, a lot of people, surprisingly, in Canada, bet on lacrosse. It's one of our national sports. It is our national sport. So when you look at esports, though, there's not a lot of that going on. There may be side bets and things like that, but in terms of the big Vegas things, there's only a few things that you can bet on, being League of Legends and something like that. Some games here and there, depending on which betting agency you go to. So there's a lot of things when it comes to sports that are backed by billionaires, and then the rest of it is backed by the people, whether it be betting, sports merchandise, or anything like that. But when it comes to esports, it's not really the same. There are merge teams and things like that, and the merge teams do good depending on where you are. Like 100 Thieves, the Guard had a really good merge team. They were part of 100 Thieves, but now it's continued to change. These people are not there anymore, and things are definitely shaking up because these people are dumping money and nothing's happening. Because you're not making back the money from the esports organization events. You're not making back money from all the content and stuff like that. Unless you're a small org, it's hard to make all these millions and billions of dollars back. You know what I mean? If you look at something like Moist Esports, that's backed by Ludwig and Charlie. Those are two content creators, and most of the people on their team are content creators. They obviously have some staff back there, but it's just like, it's a finite amount. Disguised Toast has DSG. DSG has been operating, and they don't need to bleed money because, well, they have it, and they're just backing creators. And most of the content creators that they back, they know, or it's very small. It's a very small group within certain orgs or certain sports that make a lot of money, i.e. Rocket League, or like big things like League of Legends, or things that bring in content money like Smash Bros. Smash Bros actually brings in a decent amount of content money. Right now it might be slowing up and things like that, but for the most part, a Smash organization can stay together and stay there because it doesn't take that much to fly the tickets and get somebody into a tournament and stuff like that. Even though they may not win a lot of money, it may be a lot of good content coming from these from these events. We continue and we look at the layoffs from the Guard and everything like that. People are saying they're going to look at the Valorant teams and the esports teams because it seems everything's been left except for the esports team themselves. We look at Dexerto. Dexerto says the owner of the Guard is Stan Corneroy. He owns the LA Rams, Arsenal FC, and he owned the Guard. And well, he still owns the Guard, and obviously his net worth is $12.9 billion. So people are confused as to why this is happening. How could a billionaire just dissolve a company so fast? How could he not have everybody there? There's people apparently who were supposed to be moving out, and they were going to be like having a job within the next 2 weeks, and then now they're just fired, kind of thing like that. Who knows if they're gonna be paid for that time? But it's pretty simple. Like this guy right here, he was on the Guard, and he says, all I can say is That is that when I got laid off at 100 Thieves, the first thing the HR team did was help me to land a job. They gave me advice in negotiating salary and expectations, and they even helped me restructure in my replies to potential job offers. Experience as the guard was the exact opposite. They were really eager to push everyone out the door. I feel especially bad for Ario. Like, I feel bad for these guys, but the writing is on the wall. You got like laid off from 100 Thieves, and yeah, they may have given you another job or something like that to help him get another job. But the writing's been on the wall for a little while now. If you look at the economy and things like that, we're in a recession currently, and the recession is only getting worse. So that means that there's less money to be thrown around, and there's less money to be given to people for things that don't make money back right away. Esports and lifestyle brand hundreds these laying off staff, and this was coming from January. Can't remember the date here. January 10th. January 10th, they laid off a bunch of people, including people from their merch team, and their merch team was the best. 100 Thieves arguably has the best merch in esports, and then the guard ended up having some of the best merch in esports because they had the same people that left 100 Thieves to go over to the guard. We continue multiple organizations, multiple Optic Gaming staff members that go in further esports industry layoffs. That was January 26th. You know what I mean? We continue. This was a good clip that I wanted to show you guys because it just makes sense. You know what I mean?
It was the first like really massive like gaming fucking entity. Like
Yeah,
as far as on social, where people are like, "Yo, this is
but exactly
cool."
it. That's why my biggest thing was preserving that for FaZe because to be honest, like we could lose all of our esports teams. Cool, fine. We just go buy another one like every other org does. Who cares? People aren't really attached to orgs for their esports teams like that unless that team has stayed around for a long time, like Optic. Optic, like Call of Duty, might be like the
Right.
only exception because like Scump and people like that.
Yeah.
But like other teams, like no one gives a fuck. You just like it's all like pros, and if they do well, they do well. Like even our Atlanta FaZe, I like all the boys on the team, but like they're not like ingrained into the FaZe identity like that. It's not like they've
Yeah.
been around since 2012, 13. So it doesn't matter as much. What you have to preserve is like the content creation team,
Yes.
that side of the brand, because that's what gives the rest of the esports team strength.
It was the first.
The reason I wanted to show you guys that clip is simple. What FaZe Raiden says makes sense to me in terms of the business and why esports is kind of failing in terms of like the teams and things like that and how much money they're pumping into it. When it was small organizations like Optic Gaming, when they were just coming up and everything like that, and they didn't have that much money, they were in a house altogether. You got to know Nade Shot and everybody else, right? You got to know Scump, everybody. The content creators, they built themselves up. That's why I look at that's why I look at Disguise toasting them and it's like these are content creators that are storied over years amount of time that end up being brought up into these the limelight kind of thing, and they get brought up in these esports and things like that, and they have storied careers that make it better for the business, more advertising, more everything, because brands are able to latch onto them and people latch onto them. When it comes to the new esports orgs, there's only so many people that are like looked at as the number one, the A1 day one kind of guys and stuff like that. So most of them fizzle out within 2 to 3 years. Let's be honest with you. You know what I mean? You have your ASUs and stuff like that, but these guys are like once in a lifetime freak of natures, and some of them don't even go for the complete esports avenue anymore. They go for the content creation avenue because they know the content creation avenue is more profitable. So with that being said, it makes sense why there's so many factors that don't make the money. You don't have LeBrons, and even in small market teams in the NBA and other sports, you have stars and people that are willing to buy jerseys with the people's names on the back and things like that, and buy drinks and concessions, etc. That lead towards the money. This is just small money, but it makes a lot of the bulk money in the long run, and everything small ends up being bigger than it is. You know what I mean? Because if you can't make the small money, how are you making the big money? The big money is tournaments, everything like that. And then once you make you win $2 million from a tournament, it gets broken down like 45 times. You get broken down to the CEO. You get broken down to the officers, the chief officers and the executives, the players, the staff. After that, the content creators or editors and everything like that of the videos and stuff like that. Are these videos generating 10 to 15 million views per video or something like that, like most YouTubers are? No. Are they getting Mr. Beast numbers? No. So it's just like, is the money sustainable unless you're a small org? No. It's pretty simple, because not even is this just a big problem within the esports scene, it's a worldwide problem, like I said, with the recession coming. Riot Games reportedly laying off staff. Riot Games is one of the biggest companies in the world when it comes to gaming, and they're laying off stuff. And they have League of Legends, they have Valorant, they have the LCS, they have a bunch of stuff, right? It doesn't matter because we're strapped for cash. Venture capitalists are strapped for cash. Game studios are strapped for cash. Video game studios lay off workers while recruiting more. You know what I'm saying? Like, they get more for lower prices, offshore things. It's a bunch of things that have to do with the economy and stuff like that. So when it comes to is esports failing, the answer is yes. The answer is yes when it comes to financials. Is esports failing on the grand scheme of things? No, because everybody's going to still be like involved in esports and things like that. They're going to be looking for the best guy, the best person who could shoot on a mouse and keyboard, the best guy who can play the best Smash Bros. Game, the best Melee player, the best Ultimate player, etc. These things will happen. We'll have tournaments. We'll have money. But will we have big money anymore? It's in the air. Things are in the air with that, because if it's not sustainable, why would it be a thing? So if it's not sustainable for money from orgs and people can't see big money, it's gonna be less sustainable for the people who are looking at the esports to want to join them and end up trying to get money out of them because they can't be a millionaire or chase their dreams. They could think of going and being a lawyer, a doctor, a pharmacist, or something like that, and end up making more money, or even just a content creator flat out and making more money than being in esports, where you have to be as diligent as any other athlete in the world, where you're gonna have to be doing scrims, practice, everything like that. You have to take care of your mental health, your physical health, everything like that. But you may not win anything. But at least when you're in those sports, whether it be collegiate now, because like, you have the NCAA lets you make money off yourself and your likeness and everything now. Before they didn't. But now, whether it be collegiate sports, pro sports, like, you know what I mean, whether it be CFL, was trying to, like, you go for national sports, Canada, team sports like that, or you're in one of the national leagues, NBA, NFL, FIFA, etc. You're not making that much money. And even outside of the bigger leagues, you're not making that much money. You'll make a sustainable amount to live off of. But when it comes to esports, it's mostly backed by the venture capitalists and the companies paying these team members and these staff members to make that much and try to get a return. But the return is just not coming. You can make a return off sports and things like that. But currently, esports is not making that much of a return unless you're just a content creator or something like that. So that's my opinion on things. That's my take on things. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I do these videos all the time.